A warm good evening and welcome to it. I'm Thomas Mlambo. This is Sport at 10. 1.5 million of you are tuned in tonight for what will be one of the best shows we have ever brought you, because the names could not be bigger. The national team's leadership are here on Sport at 10. Don't take your word from me. Let's get straight to the bench and find out who it is that will be on the program tonight. Sitting on the bench, we're going to be talking about rope skipping. And I know you didn't think it was a real sport, but there's a world championship to it. We've got two of the best performers in that from South Africa right here in the studio with us. We'll talk to them later on the show. Then moving on from there, he's a long way across, but there he is. You'll remember back in the day when R&B was big in South Africa. He's making a comeback. Saifo, it's good to have you here, and we'll be talking to him about Fiso. Welcome to the show. We'll be talking to you about what's going on in the comeback of your career. And then we've got Dr. Jordan in the hot seat as well. And right here on the set already, let's get through to the news stories as well as the coach of the Proteas, Otis Gibson. Otis, welcome to Sport at 10. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
It's good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Huh?
Good to be here.
It's good to be with us. And Mark Lewis, there's lots to talk about.
There is. As a teenager, I watched him play cricket here in South Africa, Thomas, so this is a really nice moment for me, so I'm enjoying this.
There you go. But one of the things we didn't enjoy was watching the rugby this last weekend.
We didn't score a single point, Thomas, in 80 minutes of rugby. We did not put in one penalty, one drop goal, one moment of shining light for South Africa, and there has been a severe backlash from rugby fans around South Africa. They are not happy with the Springboks with the performance. Some might say understandable, but local fans are upset, and the Boks are now getting upset based on their reaction from fans.
Coach, you watched the game, right?
Yeah, I did actually. I watched the game in England, and having sort of started watching rugby when I first played cricket in South Africa, and I can remember the big name at the time, I think, was somebody Small.
James Small.
James Small, yeah. He was a champion at the time, I think. So I got into it then, and I started watching it. And I watched on Saturday, but then I had to turn off.
Yeah.
And apparently I did the right thing.
You did exactly the right thing, because at 57-0, that was not a good day as far as the Boks were concerned. Can you explain it?
I can't really, Thomas. There was so much excitement going into the game that there was even an opportunity where some people were thinking that this may be a time that we could, steal a victory in New Zealand like we've done before on very rare occasions. And instead we failed to get going. We failed to find our straps. New Zealand capitalized more and more and more, and we were done, really.
Now, this is where we're going to throw in a quick conversation with the coach around, I'm sure, a name he knows, because you were also the bowling coach for England. Yeah. You've lived in England. Yeah. So when I say the name Rio Ferdinand, what comes to mind?
Legend.
Legend.
I'm a Man U fan as well.
So he's a legend for you?
He's a legend for me, yeah. Massive fan of his.
12 years at Manchester United, yeah. UEFA Champions League winner,
many
FIFA
titles.
Club World Cup winner.
Absolutely.
He's done it all.
He has.
But do you think this legend, Mark, can take on another career like he's trying right now?
I'm worried for a 38-year-old retired footballer who thinks that now is a good time to go into heavyweight boxing and try and step into a ring and fight people.
Look, Coach, there he is. The video is out, and he is heading to the ring at age 38 to be a boxer. They're calling it from defender to contender.
I'm not sure. I think Andrew Flintoff tried it in England as well. You all remember Freddie Flintoff from his exploits on the cricket field, and he tried it as well. I think he had one bout and realized that it wasn't for him. So perhaps Rio needs to, apparently you learn from your mistakes, so perhaps he needs to make that mistake before he learns his lesson.
But I mean, what would keep him? He's a talented athlete. He can box. What's wrong with that?
Who is he going to fight, Thomas? Who is he going to fight, really? I mean, is this going to be a Sonny Ball Williams boxing career where you fight a couple milkmen and walk away with a 5-0 record by the time you're 40 years old? Is he going to get a title weight fight? Is somebody
But everybody's boxing now. Guys from the UFC are coming into the ring and taking on the Mayweathers of the world. Why not a former footballer?
Is his football analyst career going that badly that he feels the need to step into a boxing ring at 38 years of age?
Maybe he has the talent. Coach, you're not even giving him a chance. Maybe he has the talent.
This is the thing when you finish a glowing career and you've got so much time on your hands now and you're trying to fill your times, and there he is trying to take on boxing, I'm not sure.
Let's hear what he has to say himself. Rio Ferdinand on boxing and his new career.
The last couple of years I've been through quite a few things in my life, and this is another just a way of being able to kind of channel that aggression, that anger sometimes, and just emotions into something that I can be really focused upon, and this is just something that I'm really kind of into. I've got the utmost respect for the boxing fraternity. I'm not coming in here sitting and saying I'm going to be a world champion. I'm coming here saying there's loads of hurdles to get over, and I'm going to meet all of them head on. And I'm like an armchair boxing fan anyway. Like anyone else, I'm sitting there saying I could do that. Why is he not throwing a left? Why is he not throwing a right? Now I'm going to find out, training-wise, how hard it is just to get to that point of getting into the ring, let alone getting in there. So I'm really looking forward to it. And physically and mentally, I'm going to go to places I've never been. But I want to meet them challenges head on.
Oh, Borregid. He's just bored. I think that's all it is. And they're going to knock some sense into his head.
It seems like it, isn't it? It would seem so, like he's a bit bored. But again, you know, he's had such a glowing career. Why does he want to go and ruin his
You're a big guy.
His legacy?
You could have.
No, thank you. No, thanks.
He is really a big guy, though.
I'll stick to cricket. Thank you very much.
We're going to have that conversation with you very shortly, Coach. But before then, in South Africa, you're brand new into the country. There's usually a decision that needs to be made around which football team locally you're going to support.
Don't do that to me.
No? We're going to give you, let's look at the highlights, and then maybe if you see something you like, you'll say, I'm going to go with that team. Let's go with that. We've seen the games on Tuesday as well as Wednesday, so let's see what happened first of all with Orlando Pirates yesterday. And in their encounter, it was a goal that came from Kalinge. We've got the highlights for you from that encounter, so let's get through to them and have a look. Starting out here, Cape Town City, Orlando Pirates. And it's now starting to come apart a little bit for Cape Town City and Benny McCarthy.
Yeah, I think, Thomas, all of a sudden the reality and the fairy tale of what could be a dream start for the season for Benny is starting to come to the fore now.
Disallowed goal, what do you think?
Again, very tough. We need to see it again close to time. I think Benny will be very unhappy. He commented about the refereeing of the game as well, and whether it should or should not have gone into the back of the net.
17-year-old Foster with the cross, Kalinge with the goal. Orlando Pirates winning that one. Going to top of the log, Coach. Important victory for them.
I would think so.
And that's a team that you could possibly get behind. You know, they're in black and white.
Fans. I've got Pirates friends.
You've got friends who are there.
Yeah,
he's halfway there.
Okay, we're not going to put you in a corner right yet. As we look here at SuperSport United yesterday against Chippa United.
Yeah, they're going to want to try and put in some good form now, Thomas. We know they're busy in Africa as well. They have a return leg coming up against Zesco United, and I think for Eric Tinkler now trying to balance the season and trying to balance cups in Africa, it's going to get very, very busy. And for them, anything that they can take. There we see all of a sudden there's goals that are coming their way. It lands up finishing 1-1. He probably wouldn't have wanted that outcome, but again, shared points in a busy spell might not be the worst.
Tebogo Mokwena's first game in charge. This turned into a real cracker of a game as Polokwane City hosted Free State Stars. What a scoreline. 5 goals scored in the encounter. First one coming from Mohamed Anas on the goalkeeper's mistake. Anas scoring a second goal.
And you mentioned a 5-goal thriller away from home, and to pick up that kind of result is outstanding for them. And this isn't even where the drama ended, because I know we'll focus on it in a few moments' time.
Masehe making it 3-0. And then the comeback began because Masehe, after scoring, the captain gets himself sent off.
And what a terrible decision from him. I mean, there you are from hero to zero. Thomas getting sent off and getting shown a red card, and that swung the entire game.
And then it was the beginning of the comeback. Walter Musona as well as Siebi getting 2 back, but it wasn't enough. The victory was done. Moving on to Wednesday night's action tonight, and let's have a look at what took place. It was, again, APSA Premiership action of the highest order, and this encounter with Kaizer Chiefs and Maritzburg United. Well, Chiefs, they seem to be now finding their stride. Kune's back.
Yeah, he's been the man of the match for the last 2 or 3 matches for me, Thomas, and that says a lot when your keeper is that shining light. It's a little something to think about and worry about, but Maritzburg have been outstanding. It's a good result for Chiefs.
And a brace for Paez. Now, Coach, Kaizer Chiefs is the other team that people traditionally find that they may want to get behind. Massively supported in the country.
Yeah, I like the strip as well. I like the kit. So,
okay.
So maybe that might be the team that I would.
So you've got friends who are Pirates fans that you're maybe thinking of becoming down that line, but you like the Kaizer Chiefs kit.
Kaizer Chiefs kit, yeah. So. And I like the name. And I like the name too. Kaizer Chiefs sounds like a good name.
Yeah. Okay, Coach. We'll leave it there and move on to Amazulu up against Bidvest Wits. Wits are the defending league champions, and what a terrible start to the season. They got hammered tonight.
And Thomas, we speak about reality checks for Benny McCarthy. What about a reality check for Gavin Hunt as well? Wits are in absolute nowhere land at the moment.
Michael Morton hardly ever scores a goal, and then he comes up with that. What a cracker. And then 2 goals from Manzini, 1 from the penalty spot, the next one to make it 3-0 to against the defending league champions. They haven't won a game in their 5 opening games of the season.
They have not. And what does that say to you? I mean, a bit of pressure. We saw a really emotional conversation from Manip Josephs just the other day. Gavin Hunt as well has had plenty to say. So serious trouble for the clever boys, and they have some real thinking to do behind the scenes.
There you have it. That's the Premiership action from tonight. Soccer Zone on Monday will give you all the inside scoop on that. But let's now get into the proper conversation with the coach of the Proteas, who's been with us since the beginning of the show, talking about all sorts of other things. But we're going to take him now into the area that you specialize in. And let's also officially welcome you to being Proteas coach of South Africa. Welcome to the job.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
How does it feel?
Feels great. Amazing, to be honest, you know, to think that, you know, the journey that I've had in my career as a player first in South Africa and now brings me back to South Africa some probably 15, 20 years later to be the head coach is amazing. And
it's also truly unusual. I mean, the last foreign coach that we had was Bob Woolmer back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So does that bring additional pressure to you to be a foreign coach when South Africa's traditionally had South African coaches?
Yeah, a little bit. I think so. You know, you're coming into the land is not a strange land to me because I've been here for so many years, but at the same time it's still a strange situation coming into a foreign place to be the head coach. You know, the responsibility of being the head coach of a country, any country, is massive, and then to be the head coach of a country like South Africa where cricket is such a passion, you know, such the fans are so passionate about the game and stuff like that is also, there's a little bit of pressure there, but you know, the team is a good. There's a lot of good players in the team at the moment. So if we can get all those guys sort of channeling their energies in the right direction into the team, then I think we've got an opportunity to do something really special.
Yeah, the coach Otis Gibson spent 6 years in South Africa as a player, but the one thing I'm absolutely sure of is that you've watched the Proteas, you've followed what's been going on over years, and maybe because you have that outsider's view, you know.
Yeah.
What's been the problem, especially when it comes to the big stage, the World Cups? You know, can you put your finger on it and tell us this is the way out?
I can't put my finger on it at the moment, but I can assure you that over the next 2 years leading up to the World Cup, we'll dig, you know, into what has gone on in the past to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes that we've made in the past, so that when the opportunity comes in the next World Cup, that we're a very clear thinking team and able to go and make good decisions under the pressure of trying to win a World Cup and hopefully bring home the bacon, as they say.
And it's also a very, call it, precarious seat to be in, because you're a black coach. South Africa has quota systems.
Yeah.
There's obviously going to be an expectation from you around that. Have you wrapped your mind around it?
The way that I've sort of looked at it is that the quota system is in place already, and the Cricket South Africa and certainly the selectors have been working with that system, you know, and I come in and I will have to try and fit into that system as best as I can, and that's just the way that I've looked at it.
Mark?
I want to speak about what's being termed as the bowling crisis. So it's just, I think that crisis is such a terrible word, Thomas, but we have a string of high-quality bowlers in South Africa. Chris Morris, Lungi Ngidi, Vernon Philander. We have some really top-performing bowlers that are suffering at the moment with particular injuries. Is that a major concern for you? Dale Steyn as well?
Yeah. Look, you know, every coach comes in and he has a philosophy, and sometimes the philosophy, there's all sorts of different sort of strings to the philosophy, and you look at the team, where the team is at the moment, and then how can you move the team forward? And one of the first areas, mostly, is fitness. And, you know, I'm a very sort of, being an ex-fast bowler myself, I'm a very bowling-minded sort of head coach. I want to have a good bowling unit. And a unit meaning the guys that are in the team, but also a squad around that. And therefore, the first thing it seems to me that I have to pay attention to is the fitness levels of the fast bowlers. Injuries happen and niggles happen, but then when there's fitness levels and then there's a situation where people are picking up injuries, you have to look at why the injuries are occurring.
Are they bowling too much?
I don't know. That's the sort of stuff that I've got a couple of meetings with the support staff later on this week, and certainly the fitness people who from what I've been told already are doing amazing work. So we have to try and get to the bottom of what's causing the injuries, and we'll identify the areas certainly that we need to work on. If it's a general fitness level, we'll try and make sure that guys are getting up to speed, getting up to the sort of international standard with the fitness. And if it's injuries caused from maybe overuse or too much bowling, then we have to identify those areas and try to rectify them.
But again, this is South Africa, and we don't give you an easy ride. Bangladesh coming up next week, and Mark has highlighted there's a crisis with bowlers, 4 bowlers short.
Yeah.
We're not going to say it's okay if it doesn't go right against Bangladesh.
Yeah.
You have a plan?
Well, it won't be okay. We want to win every series we play, you know. And the thing about injuries, especially say you go on a tour, for instance, and there's always a first choice in a football team. I guess there's always a first choice, and the guys on the bench. The guys on the bench are waiting to get on. So there's a little bit of a crisis at the moment with fast bowlers, but it means that there's going to be a great opportunity for somebody that's not in the system to now come and make a case for himself, and hopefully that person, whoever that person or those persons are, will step up to the plate.
Last question, Coach. I read that your plan is to take us to #1.
Yeah.
That's the plan?
That's the plan. The plan is to take the team back to #1. The team has, at the moment, quite a few players that has been to #1, so they know the journey. They've walked that road before. They know what it takes, and it is just sort of extracting that sort of learning that they would have done on the way to #1, trying to instill it in some of the young guys, the very young, talented guys that are coming up, the Rabadas, the Bavumas. The silverware comes at the end of the journey. You know, this for me now, it's a 2-year journey, which then finishes, well, hopefully not finishes. Hopefully it continues after 2019. But in 2019 is the big sort of the big moment where we have the 2019 World Cup in England. You know, we've just had the Champions Trophy in England, so part of the meetings going on around the team in the next couple of weeks is trying to unpack, you know, what happened, what worked, what didn't work, you know, why we got to the situation that we got to, and then how can we learn from that so that by the time the 2019 World Cup comes along, there's a lot of things put in place to make sure that, you know, at the end, hopefully we're playing in the World Cup final at Lord's on whenever the finals is.
South Africa coach of Proteas, Otis Gibson, giving you his views right here on Sport at 10. Now let's bring him out. South Africa's one and only sports comedian. He has been doing it and undefeated for the last 4.5 years. He is the heavyweight of sports humor. He is the Shampoo Nizer. Shampoo Nino.
Hey, Coach. How are you? Sure, Mark. Thomas, wouldn't you cool today? Does it mean I have to speak English, Thomas?
And a little bit of West Indian.
Hey, Thomas, no. Mark, English to me is like a public holiday.
I'm sorry.
It's like a public holiday. It comes once in the year and everything. But let's go through with it. Bafana Bafana, it's sad, eh? It's sad that Bafana Bafana are now number 80. You know how awkward 80 is? You are 20 years after retirement. Like you are playing via pension, but I'm not going to joke about Bafana Bafana because they're making our lives difficult. You know how disrespectful it is right now to eat a Russian in front of Stuart Baxter? Like Russian, yazi Russia. It's just awkward and everything. But you know what? We managed to beat as a country. We managed to beat apartheid. We beat xenophobia. We beat like everything except for New Zealand. The Bokke were so, you know, they beat us so bad, but they divided the country. The Bokke came out of the aeroplane individually, like walking as if you were coming out of an HIV test, like you. They can see me here. The Bokkes were not on form. You know, the best part of their game was singing the national anthem. That's where they were good. I'm like, yeah, that's all you know. They interviewed the coach, like, Coach, what happened? Like, we walked into a perfect storm. I'm like, you had time to realize that the storm was perfect. You're wasting time, Coach. You're wasting time. Stop. Let's just move on and just talk about other things. Beat Vets are losing. Yo, those people are losing, comrade. Yo, Vets, you are losing. It's like losing is a module now at university. And you guys are doing practicals. Yo, those people are losing. Yeah, Vets, they're just losing for days. It's like every time they step into a pitch, there's a voice that comes like, you have reached your winning limits. He just looked at him like, please try NFD. NFD is just the same. Who's the Nabangani Bako? Shout out to Kune, man. Kune is doing well. Kune is stopping all the goals. Like, Kune is actually a real shot stopper. You know, there's a roadblock named after him in Fenterstop. That guy will stop goals. Like, he's an inconvenience to other teams. It's like that, you know, that ugly girl in the group of girls who will always, when you think you're winning, she's there like, Reshap. It's one maroon. Yo, Kune is on another level. Shout out to Chiefs, man. Chiefs have won. Steve Compella was angry this week. Yo, he was angry because I don't know what happened. But you know you are very black, ne? When you've been speaking English throughout the league, but you are angry in your language. Because Steve was angry, Joe. I don't like to be disrespected. Then his blackness came out. I'm like, yeah, now you are coming. This is the subtitles. Subtitles came in Steve language. Like, hey, please stop cantankerizing my life against forces of nature. I'm like, that's Steve right there. Kaizer Chiefs, well done and everything, but the players are getting younger and younger and younger. The guy who scored is 17 years old, Thomas. 17 years old. That guy has never seen a David Order in his life. Ever. 17 years old. Oh, they're getting younger. Next thing you know, what's going to happen? We're going to lose ABSA and be sponsored by Nestam. You're like, yeah, the league is sponsored by Nestam. Because when they are young, you have to make them relate with young things. You make them sing like those kids' songs. Like, it's where it sense, it's where it dwebili. And if you have to get him to pass you, sometimes why is it they don't want to pass people? You have to convince him. Katsande will be doing like, Nana Jisa Komu.
Guys, a problem. We've got a topic for you. We want to engage you with it. And the Championship will continue as the show continues. What are the questions that you have for Dr. Donnie Jordan? The hashtag is Ask Safa. What are your questions for him? Sport at 10 TV is where you'll send those questions through. And feel free to comment as well about the new coach of the Proteas. You saw him live for the first time right here on Sport at 10. Coach, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And have you decided, Chiefs or Pirates?
No, I'm going to stay neutral. I'm going to enjoy the banter from my friends with the Pirates. And enjoy the kit from the Chiefs.
Much safer option. This coach is going to go far. He's just keeping them the channel line and length, no problem. Let's go to a break. We'll be back with Dr. Jordan after this.